We hear all the time. We talked about it a couple weeks ago. Stochastic terrorism. Stochastic terrorism, encouraging violence with your words. How people like Matt Walsh and Michael Knowles and Jordan Peterson and others are going to have blood on their hands due to their rhetoric about trans people. Well, we're yet to see anyone go shoot a bunch of trans people and say, yeah, I did that because of Matt Walsh. But we do have a trans person shooting up a Christian elementary school in a state that just banned gender-affirming care for minors. So I'll ask, do left-wing political commentators and politicians share the same responsibility for this shooting? You spent the last 2 years telling a group of people that suffers from mental illness at an objectively higher rate than any other demographic in the country that conservative Christians are trying to commit genocide against them, that they're trying to make their very existence illegal, even though you know that's disingenuous and not true. Everyone knew something like this would happen eventually. You can only push people so far. This was the inevitable conclusion. The worst part was you knew what you were saying was a lie and you pushed it anyway. Conservative Christians don't want to genocide trans people. They never have. They didn't want to ban adults from transitioning. None of that was true, and you knew it, but you pushed the narrative anyway, knowing that your target audience had a massively high occurrence of mental illness. The argument against Alex Jones in the Sandy Hook trial, the precedent you guys set, was that Alex Jones knew his fan base and his listener base was mentally ill. Let's call it what it was. If you listen to Alex Jones every day, you're probably nuts. I mean, he's fun for entertainment value, but let's be real. If you listen to Alex Jones daily, you're probably nuts. That was the argument. Yeah, see? That was the argument. The argument was that Alex Jones had a responsibility, knowing he had a mentally ill listener base, to not say the things he did. And because of it, because of his rhetoric and his irresponsibility, people went out and did what and harassed the Sandy Hook families and all that. Well, if that's the case, shouldn't we apply this same logic here? Shouldn't Hassan and AOC have the same responsibility to their listeners? So Trans Day of Vengeance. They're going to stop genocide. What genocide? Don't you think we're going to talk all this stuff about responsibility. Don't you think it's a little irresponsible, given the current climate, to tell people they're being genocided? Stochastic terrorism. Stochastic, I've never seen Matt Walsh or J.K. Rowling or even Andrew Tate advocate violence against a trans person even once. What I have seen is Jane Fonda go on The View and say it's time to murder conservative Christians, and then when they tried to play it off a joke, just like Alex Jones did with Kanye about Hitler, she looked straight at the camera and said, "I'm not joking," or didn't say it, but that was the implication. I've seen a mother, like we showed last week, testifying before the Florida State Legislature, threaten to shoot at officers who enforced a ban on gender-affirming care for minors. I've seen T-shirts with outlines of AK-47s labeled with thinly veiled threats like trans rights or else. I've seen hundreds of online postings of trans people fantasizing about committing acts of violence against TERFs and conservatives. I've seen people defend the attack on Dave Chappelle and argue that this should be the norm for comedians who dare make fun of that group. Side note, if the consequence for making fun of you is violence, you're not the one who's being oppressed. I've seen people like J.K. Rowling receive dozens of threats of death and rape every single day. So who's the violence coming from? Who are the real stochastic terrorists? Honestly, you want my honest opinion? Nobody. Because I'm not going to label an entire group of people terrorists based on the actions of a small few. Because I'm better than you guys. But that's your logic. That's the logic you've applied to everyone on the opposite side of the spectrum from you. Is that anyone who speaks out against you is a terrorist. And anyone who does anything bad, that blood is on the political commentator or influencer or talk show host's hands. That's the precedent you guys have set. Now, there are individual terrorists on the left, just like there are on the right. But I'm not about to sit here and label all trans people terrorists. Hey, thanks for watching. If you liked what you saw, be sure to click the link in the description to get the full episode on Rumble. If you prefer to listen along, you can actually get us on Spotify, Spreaker, and iHeartRadio. You can also go to www.outlawstreamers.com to learn more about not just my show, but tons of other great shows and all the exciting projects they have coming up. Follow my socials at Caleb Isn't Funny on Twitter and Instagram, at Caleb Salvatore Comedy on the Chinese Spy app that is TikTok, and be sure to like and subscribe to this YouTube channel. Thanks, and we'll see you every Saturday for brand new episodes of That's Based. Peace.